Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
The hunt is on for a man accused of robbing a Dilworth liquor store. This is a picture of the man police are looking for right now. That robbery happened last night about 10 o'clock at Trax Liquors. A worker there tells us someone came in with a gun and took off with a lot of money.
But as Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer learned, these kinds of robberies are rare. Thefts, on the other hand, are something police see a lot of.
A startling scene outside of a Dilworth liquor store.
He had a 9mm pistol on him. He was by himself. A Trax liquor.
Police trying to piece together what happened.
So it's a theft of opportunity in regards to what products they have by the door.
Captain Derek Swenson with Moorhead Police is very familiar with crime, especially at liquor stores. In fact, he tells us they get a handful of calls each week about someone coming into one of the stores and taking off with booze.
It's easy theft for people. A lot of times our suspects are people who have possibly already been drinking, so their decision making necessarily isn't the best.
But armed robberies are a different story. Captain Swenson tells us he can't remember the last time there's been one in Moorhead. And he says the safety measures a lot of stores in town are using right now is going a long way.
Most of our liquor stores have very good surveillance equipment.
Other than catching the culprit on video, Captain Swenson urges people working at liquor stores or in any retail to make it hard to steal anything. Keep a closer eye on those end caps that can't be seen from the cash register. Don't be afraid to put up those signs reminding customers they're being watched, and be careful what you keep by the door. Reporting live in the studio, Melanie Palmer, Valley News Live.
Now, we did ask some liquor stores around the FM area what they do to keep their stores safe. None of the ones we called felt comfortable giving out their security information. However, a handful of them tell us they use security cameras at all times. As for the case out of Dilworth, no one was hurt.
A Netchie, North Dakota man has been sentenced to 60 years in prison for sexually exploiting minors, extortion, and possessing and distributing child porn. Authorities say over a period of 2 years, Brandon Bjornstead coerced hundreds of children to send them sexually explicit images and videos on various social media platforms. Investigators say he then shared the images with others. The North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Investigations has identified 90 children in 3 countries so far.
A Fargo man accused of forcing himself on 2 young girls and making them drink his bodily fluids will likely spend the rest of his life behind bars. 49-year-old Todd Meyer was sentenced to 60 years in prison this morning, along with 40 years of supervised probation. We learned back in February, Meyer and his wife at the time were guardians of 2 girls under the age of 10. Court documents state Meyer sexually assaulted the girls and made them watch porn. Both victims are now in custody with Child Protective Services. But Meyer's ex-wife says that's not fair because police never found she was involved in Meyer's crimes.
If I had my way, what he did to the girls, I would have somebody do to him and let him feel what he's caused, because he'll never feel the pain that I feel or the pain that those girls feel for the rest of their lives.
Meyer is not eligible for parole until 2059.
The former grain trader accused of defrauding roughly 60 farmers last year has been sentenced to 8 years in prison. Investigators say 22-year-old Hunter Hansen either sent checks that would bounce or failed to pay victims altogether. He pleaded guilty to the crimes in July. The judge also ordered Hansen to pay more than $11 million in restitution and forfeit property related to the crimes.
It's official. North Dakota Insurance Commissioner John Gottfried is now the new record holder for the world's tallest male politician. Gottfried's official height is 6 feet 10 inches. He played basketball at the University of Northern Iowa from 2001 to 2005, reaching the NCAA tournament in 2004 and 2005.
Fargo's Superintendent Dr. Rupak Gandhi has been in the position for a year. And tonight, the school board brought forward his annual evaluation. All 9 board members rated his work performance as satisfactory. School board president Robin Nelson said there were very positive comments and feedback from the evals.
So it's a very tight squeeze, and you got to be really careful so you don't hit the kids because they run across the street.
Parents of kids at a local elementary school want you to be more careful while dropping off and picking up your kids from school. The Clara Barton Hawthorne PTA took to social media saying they're seeing some dangerous practices from fellow parents, and they're not the only ones with these worries. We talked to some parents who are picking their kids up today, and they tell us drivers can always be more careful around children.
A lot of people park like a block away and walk, and that stinks, but if that can help keep some cars out of the way, that helps everybody. It's just important to remember that we are all here looking out for the safety of all of our kids.
The Facebook post also says parents are parking in the middle of the street while waiting to pick up their kids, and that's causing other cars to go around them and posing a danger to kids walking up to vehicles.
All right, we've got Rachel S. and Ronnie Horner.
Standing room only for one tasty competition tonight in West Fargo, but we're guessing people were okay with that since all they had was a good cause in mind. Thunder Coffee hosted a latte art throwdown. For a small donation, baristas from Fargo, Bismarck, Sioux Falls, and the Twin Cities faced off in a March Madness-style bracket. The goal was to make the most beautiful coffee art. A panel of volunteer judges voted for a winner in each round.
Anytime that we host an event here, we really want it to be community oriented. It's plastered on our window, it's plastered on our heart. We want this to be a community space, so getting to work with them was just kind of a perfect fit.
Proceeds from tonight will go to the North Dakota Autism Center.
Meanwhile, popular daytime soap opera Days of Our Lives is going on a production hiatus, and at least one media outlet has reported the show's cast has been let out of their contracts. The show shoots months in advance, and they've gotten so far ahead that the cast was prepared for a long break. Negotiations for the 56th season of the show have already begun.
Valley News Live 10 at 10 continues with no wait weather.
All right, definitely a quieting down of the winds heading into the evening. Not as strong out there, and still a cool feeling day. We started out, though, with temperatures just below zero, and we continue to slowly warm. Still in the low 20s now. Feels like 9. Winds are still gusting over 20 miles per hour, but not near 40 like we saw earlier in the day. Those south winds helping to warm things up, scrubbing out that thick molasses cold air that was in place to start the day. 21 Wahpeton Breckenridge, 23 this hour in Valley City, and 15 the cool spot up there in Bemidji. That's where we also have the most challenging wind chills, still down in the single digits in central Minnesota. Here's the core of cool air that yesterday was positioned right over the valley. So that's moved off into the Great Lakes. Warmer air trying to punch in. It's just going to take a bit of time, and as it happens, we're going to go through some growing pains in the form of flakes showing up on the radar here in the valley. Notice along Interstate 94 westbound towards Jamestown and points north, we have a few flakes showing up on radar. Just looked at some DOT photos from those locations, not seeing a lot of this reaching the ground, but eventually we'll see some flakes working their way down toward the ground. There on the Highway 2 corridor, we also have a band of snow showers. Do you see the deeper blue shades here? Those are bigger snowflakes being echoed by the radar signal there, and we're seeing those up in Walsh County. So anywhere from the Edinburgh area down towards Fordville and out towards Lankin, somewhere in this general vicinity, maybe a few flakes actually reaching down to the ground. Northwest Minnesota starting to see some echoes as well, light snow showers. Hour-by-hour forecast shows the south winds continuing. I've paused this just in case Mike happens to be walking. Well, I don't know what are you walking tonight, the cat or the dog?
Dog.
The dog. Okay, if you're walking the dog at 2:30 in the morning, chance for some flakes moving through the valley and point south. Now, this isn't going to leave a lot of snow, but because of the timing right before the drive, there could be some slippery conditions here in the valley, in the southern valley in particular. By 7:30 in the morning, most of the snow shifting southward into Lakes Country. Not much of a chance of snow up north, but as we go through the mid-morning hours, that snow, it vacates pretty quickly. However, tomorrow, a little bit of clearing out to the west, but we have a northwest wind now to contend with. That's going to pull down some cool Canadian air, so we're not going to see a big bump in temperatures on our midweek day, but it won't be as cold as it was earlier in our work week either. So morning clouds and snow showers. Watch for slippery spots on the roads. Temperatures steady all night. We start out in the 20s. We warm up to the mid to upper 20s, northwest winds 15 to 25 miles per hour in Fargo. With decreasing clouds late in your day, it looks pretty fair. 19 with partly cloudy skies tomorrow afternoon in Langdon. Looks like cloudy skies and 26 in the Wahpeton-Breckenridge area, but those clouds will be clearing late in the day. 23 in Detroit Lakes. And speaking of lakes, some frozen water and some unfrozen water out there. Jim capturing that on Ottertail Lake. Thanks for sharing. All right, warmer weather gets here Thursday, mid-30s, and it does look sunny. I'm expecting more in the way of wind on Friday to close out the work week, still in the mid-30s. Highlighting your weekend forecast, though, Saturday for the big Bison game, we're near 40. A little breezy out there, still a chance for some mixed precipitation. Sunday, still near 40, and we keep those temperatures into early next week. That is a nice stretch of weather by recent standards.
Yeah, it is. Thanks, Hutch.
You bet.
Up next on Valley News Live 10 at 10, a law aimed at helping those in need is actually benefiting those who might not need it at all, what our investigation found.